Hello and welcome back. I'm Sophie.
And I'm David. Genuinely lovely to have you here with us today, wherever in the world you're listening from, and whatever level your English is at right now.
Before we dive in, a quick and warm request from us. If you're finding these conversations useful, please do subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and it means we can keep making episodes like this one every single week. A like on the video helps us reach more learners around the world. And if you have a thought or a question about today's topic, please drop it in the comments. We read every single one. And if you know someone who is working on their English, please share this episode with them. Right, let's get into it. Because today's topic is one I am genuinely excited about.
Me too. And I think it's one that could genuinely change the way our listeners approach language learning, if they haven't already started exploring this territory.
So, today we are talking about artificial intelligence, specifically AI chatbots, and how language learners can use them not just as a novelty or a convenience tool, but as a genuinely powerful, personalized, always available language coach.
And I want to say from the outset, this is not a sponsored conversation. We're not being paid by any technology company. We're talking about these tools because we've used them, we've seen what they can do, and we think the language learning community as a whole is significantly underusing them.
The tools we're going to talk about today include ChatGPT, made by OpenAI, probably the most widely known, Claude, made by a company called Anthropic, Google's Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot. All of these are AI chatbots, meaning you can have a written conversation with them, ask them questions, give them tasks, and receive detailed, intelligent responses almost instantly.
And they are all either free or have a very generous free tier, meaning most of our listeners can access them right now, today, at no cost.
Which is remarkable when you think about what these tools can do. Because essentially what you have access to is something that reads and understands virtually every book, article, and piece of text ever published in English, and can discuss, explain, correct, and generate language at an extraordinarily high level.
For a language learner, that's an almost unprecedented resource. Let's start with the most fundamental use case, because I think it's the one that unlocks everything else. And that is using an AI chatbot as a conversation partner.
This is the one I feel most strongly about. Because one of the greatest challenges for language learners, particularly those who don't live in an English-speaking country, is simply finding opportunities to actually use the language. To have real, extended, meaningful conversations in English.
You can study grammar until you know every rule perfectly. You can memorize thousands of words, but if you're not regularly using the language in real communicative contexts, those skills stay theoretical. They don't transfer into fluent, spontaneous speech.
And AI chatbots solve this problem beautifully. Because they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in any time zone, on any topic you choose. They never get tired, never get bored, never judge you for making mistakes, and never make you feel embarrassed for not knowing a word.
Which matters enormously, because the fear of judgment, the social anxiety of making mistakes in front of a native speaker, is one of the most significant barriers to speaking practice for many learners.
With an AI, that barrier simply doesn't exist. You can make as many mistakes as you like, as often as you need to, and the only consequence is that you learn something.
So how do you actually use an AI chatbot as a conversation partner? Because I think some listeners might open ChatGPT or Claude, not quite know what to do, and end up asking it something fairly basic, like, "Can you help me practice English?" and getting a fairly generic response.
The key, and this applies to essentially everything we're going to discuss today, is to be specific in how you set up the interaction. These tools are extraordinarily capable, but they respond to the quality of your instructions. The more specific and clear you are about what you want, the better and more useful the response will be.
This skill of giving clear, detailed instructions to an AI is actually called prompt engineering, and it's genuinely worth developing. Think of it as a new kind of literacy, knowing how to talk to an AI so that it gives you exactly what you need.
So rather than saying, "Can you help me practice English?" which is vague and will produce a vague response, you might say something like, I am a B2 level English learner. I want to practice having a conversation about the pros and cons of remote working. Please speak to me naturally, as if we are colleagues having a discussion over lunch. After every 3 or 4 exchanges, please gently point out any mistakes I've made and suggest more natural alternatives.
And just like that, you have a personalized, level-appropriate, topic-specific conversation partner who will simultaneously engage with you and improve your English as you go.
You can change the topic whenever you like. You can ask it to be more formal or more informal. You can ask it to use more idiomatic language or to simplify its vocabulary. You can practice job interview conversations, first date small talk, academic discussions, business negotiations, anything you need.
The second use case, and this one is particularly powerful, is using AI for writing feedback and correction. Because getting detailed, personalized feedback on your writing has traditionally required either a teacher, a language exchange partner, or an expensive tutoring service. Now it's available instantly and for free.
Here's how I'd recommend using it. Write something: an email, a short essay, a formal letter, a paragraph about something you care about, anything. Then paste it into ChatGPT or Claude and give it a specific instruction.
And again, specificity matters. Don't just say, correct my writing. Say something like, I am a C1 level English learner. Please correct any grammar or vocabulary mistakes in the following text. Explain why each correction has been made. Suggest more natural or sophisticated alternatives where appropriate. And tell me overall whether the register and tone are appropriate for a formal business email.
And what comes back is essentially a detailed lesson built entirely around your own writing, your own mistakes, your own words, which means it's maximally relevant to you specifically.
There's actually a principle in education called the spacing effect, combined with personalized feedback. The idea that feedback is most effective when it's immediate, specific, and directly connected to something you've personally produced. AI delivers all 3 of those simultaneously.
Third use, vocabulary building. And I want to talk about this one carefully, because I think there's a right way and a less effective way to use AI for vocabulary development.
The less effective way is to simply ask an AI for a list of advanced vocabulary words and then try to memorize them. Because decontextualized word lists, words divorced from any meaningful context, are one of the least efficient ways to build lasting vocabulary. The brain simply doesn't retain isolated information well.
The more effective way is to use AI to encounter and explore vocabulary in context. Here's a technique I genuinely love. Ask the AI to write you a short paragraph on a topic you're interested in, at a level slightly above your current proficiency. Read it. Note the words you don't know. Then ask the AI to explain each one. Not with a dictionary definition, but with examples of how it's used in different contexts. What words it commonly appears with, what the difference is between it and similar words, and how you might use it naturally in conversation.
That kind of rich, contextualized exploration of a word, understanding not just what it means, but how it behaves in the language, is what actually builds lasting vocabulary. And AI can provide that kind of detailed word exploration in seconds.
There's also a brilliant technique called the personal sentence method. For every new word you learn, ask the AI to help you write 3 sentences using that word. Sentences that relate to your own life, your own experiences, your own interests. Because personal relevance dramatically increases retention.
Fourth use, pronunciation and speaking practice. Now, I want to be honest here. Text-based AI chatbots have limitations when it comes to spoken language because they operate primarily in text. They can't actually hear you speak and give you feedback on your pronunciation in real time.
However, there are some genuinely useful things you can do. First, Most AI interfaces now have a text-to-speech function, meaning you can ask the AI to produce a piece of natural English and then listen to it being read aloud. This is useful for training your ear.
Second, you can use AI to understand and practice the mechanics of pronunciation. Ask it to explain the difference in sound between words you find confusing. Ask it to explain how connected speech works, how words run together in natural, fast speech. Ask it about word stress patterns, sentence stress, intonation.
For example, a learner might ask Claude or ChatGPT, "In British English, how does the word comfortable actually sound when spoken at natural speed? What sounds are typically reduced or dropped?" And the AI will give a detailed and accurate explanation, something that might have taken you hours of searching to piece together from different sources.
Third, and this is something that's developing very rapidly, some AI tools now have genuine voice interaction capabilities. ChatGPT's voice mode, for example, allows you to actually speak to the AI and receive spoken responses, which opens up genuine spoken conversation practice in a way that simply wasn't available even a year ago.
And that is only going to develop further and become more sophisticated. The language learning possibilities in the next 2 to 3 years are genuinely exciting to think about.
Fifth use, grammar explanation and exploration. And I want to make a distinction here between two kinds of grammar learning that produce very different results.
The first kind is rule memorization, learning that the present perfect is formed with have or has plus a past participle, and that it's used for actions that happened at an unspecified time in the past, or that have relevance to the present. This is useful knowledge, but it doesn't by itself produce fluent use of the present perfect.
The second kind is contextualized exploration. Encountering the grammar in real language, noticing how it works, having it explained in relation to examples you've actually seen or produced, and then practicing using it yourself with feedback.
AI is extraordinarily good at the second kind. You can show it a sentence you've written and ask, "Is my use of the present perfect here correct? If not, why not? And can you show me 5 examples of how it's used correctly in natural conversation?" Within seconds, you have a personalized grammar lesson built around your own language.
Or you can ask it to explain the difference between two structures you keep confusing, the past simple and the present perfect, for example, or will and going to, and ask it to produce examples of both in natural conversational contexts. The explanation you get will be clearer and more tailored to your specific confusion than most grammar textbooks manage.
Sixth use, and this is one that I think is particularly valuable for higher level learners working at C1 and beyond. Using AI to explore register, style, and the subtleties of how English actually works in different contexts.
Because one of the hallmarks of genuinely advanced English is not just accuracy, it's appropriateness. Knowing not just what is grammatically correct, but what sounds natural, what is appropriate for the situation, what a native speaker would actually say versus what is technically correct but slightly odd.
And this is an area where AI really shines. You can show it 2 versions of the same message, a formal and an informal one, and ask it to explain what signals the difference in register and why. You can ask it to take a piece of formal writing and make it more conversational, and then explain every change it's made and why.
You can ask it, "Is the phrase I've used here natural for British English, or does it sound more American, or slightly old-fashioned, or overly formal for this context?" And it will tell you, with nuance and accuracy that is genuinely impressive.
This kind of metalinguistic awareness, understanding how the language works from the inside, not just what's correct, but what's natural and why, is what separates good English from great English. And AI makes exploring it endlessly possible.
I want to talk about one more use before we bring things together, and it's perhaps the most creative one. Using AI as a language learning designer to create customized learning materials specifically for you.
This is something I find genuinely exciting, Because traditionally, language learning materials are generic, designed for an imagined average learner, covering topics that might or might not be relevant to you, at a level that might or might not match yours.
Whereas AI allows you to generate materials that are precisely calibrated to your level, your interests, your goals, and your specific gaps. Ask Claude to write you a reading passage at C1 level on a topic you find fascinating. Say, the history of jazz, or the economics of climate change, or the psychology of decision-making. And then to generate 10 comprehension questions, 5 vocabulary exercises, and a short writing prompt connected to the passage.
In 2 minutes, you have a complete, personalized lesson on a topic you genuinely care about at exactly the right level. That is something that would have taken a human teacher hours to prepare.
Or ask ChatGPT to generate a set of conversation questions at B2 level on a topic you're going to discuss with a language exchange partner tomorrow. Walk into that conversation prepared, with ideas already forming in your mind.
The creative possibilities are genuinely vast, and the more you experiment with these tools, the more you'll discover your own ways of using them that work for your specific learning style and goals.
I want to say something honest though, because I think it's important. AI chatbots are extraordinary tools, but they are tools. They are not a replacement for genuine human connection in language learning. Conversations with real people, with their unpredictability, their emotion, their humor, their cultural references, their imperfections, offer something that AI cannot fully replicate.
Completely. Real human interaction is irreplaceable. And there are aspects of language, the way a joke lands, the warmth of someone who understands exactly what you mean, the shared cultural context that makes communication feel like belonging, that no AI can fully provide.
So the ideal is to use AI to dramatically increase the quantity and quality of your language practice, filling the hours when no human conversation partner is available, getting feedback you couldn't otherwise access, exploring the language with a patience and availability no human tutor could offer, while still prioritizing real human connection wherever you can.
AI as the supplement, not the replacement. The training ground that prepares you for the real thing.
Right, today's phrase. And it's one that's particularly fitting for a conversation about new tools and approaches.
Today's phrase is, to push the boat out. To push the boat out means to do something more generously, ambitiously, or adventurously than usual. To go further than you normally would. You might say, I decided to push the boat out and try every AI tool available to improve my English. Or, for our anniversary dinner, we pushed the boat out and went somewhere really special. To push the boat out.
A wonderfully encouraging phrase, and absolutely what we'd recommend when it comes to experimenting with AI for language learning. Push the boat out. Try things. See what works.
Before we say goodbye, if today's episode sparks something for you, please do leave us a comment below. Tell us, have you used AI tools for language learning already? Which one is your favorite? And what would you like to use them for? We would genuinely love to know.
Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means we can keep making episodes like this for you every week. And a like on the video helps us reach more learners around the world who need exactly this kind of conversation.
And please, share this episode with someone who is learning English. Someone who would benefit from knowing about these tools. You might genuinely change the way they learn.
From both of us, thank you so much for being here. Keep exploring, keep practicing, keep pushing the boat out.
See you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.